On the 2nd of August to 16 BCE, one of the most decisive and devastating battles in military history unfolded. The Battle of Canny, a battle so brilliantly executed that it has been studied by strategists, military historians, and generals for centuries. Today, we're going to dive into the history, tactics, and the mind of the man behind this masterpiece, Hannibal Barca. The Second Punic War, fought between the Roman Republic and the Carthaginian Empire, was a conflict that would shape the Mediterranean world for generations. At the heart of this war was Hannibal Barca, a Carthaginian general who had one singular goal: to destroy Rome by 218 BCE. Hannibal had famously crossed the Alps with his army, inflicting a series of defeats on the Romans. But it was at Cannae in 16 BCE where Hannibal would demonstrate his tactical genius in a way that would be studied for centuries. After Hannibal's victory at Lake Trasimene, the Romans were desperate to stop him. The Roman Senate, which had previously employed a strategy of avoiding direct confrontation, now began to take more aggressive steps. The consul Gaius Terentius Varro and his co-consul Lucius Aemilius Paulus were placed in charge of the Roman forces and began assembling a massive army, numbering around 80,000 men in an effort to confront Hannibal head-on. Rome's approach, however, was marred by overconfidence and a misunderstanding of Hannibal's tactics. Unlike the more cautious Paulus, Varro pushed for an aggressive approach, eager to crush Hannibal's forces and restore Roman honor. Hannibal, on the other hand, had a relatively small force compared to the Romans' roughly 50,000 to 55,000 men. But Hannibal's genius lay not in numbers, but in his ability to read the terrain, understand his enemy, and use psychological warfare to his advantage. Having chosen the plains near Cannae, an area that gave his forces the perfect position to flank the Romans, Hannibal knew the ground would help him avoid direct confrontation with the numerically superior Roman legions. His army was diverse Carthaginian soldiers, Gauls, Iberians, and Numidians, each with specialized skills. The Carthaginian cavalry would play a pivotal role in the battle to come. Hannibal's genius truly manifested in his battle plan. Instead of employing a traditional linear formation, Hannibal formed his army in a convex shape, creating a bow or crescent. In the center of this formation, he placed his weakest troops, the Gauls and Celti Iberians, who would be able to absorb the initial pressure of the Roman charge. Behind them, the stronger infantry such as the Numidians and African troops held reserves, while his cavalry was positioned on the wings, ready to encircle the enemy. As the battle began, the Romans, confident in their numbers, rushed forward with full force toward Hannibal's center, which began to retreat, giving the illusion of weakness. But this was exactly what Hannibal wanted. As the Romans pushed deeper into the center of the Carthaginian formation, they unknowingly moved closer to their doom. The Carthaginian center, designed to absorb the initial shock, began to pull back, luring the Romans deeper into the trap. At the same time, the wings of Hannibal's army, including his cavalry under the command of the Numidian general Hannibal, swung around the Roman flanks. In a move that has become legendary in military theory, Hannibal's cavalry charged into the Roman rear, while the Carthaginian center began to swing around. In just a matter of hours, the Romans were completely surrounded. The Roman legions, trapped on all sides, were slaughtered in one of the most brutal and efficient encirclements in history. The casualties were staggering. Estimates suggest that as many as 50,000 to 70,000 Roman soldiers were killed in the battle. The Roman Senate, shaken by the scale of the defeat, found itself in a state of crisis. Rome had never suffered such a catastrophic loss. And yet, despite this overwhelming victory, Hannibal did not march directly on Rome. This decision has baffled historians for centuries. Some argue that Hannibal's army, exhausted from years of campaigning, lacked the resources to lay siege to the capital. Others suggest that Hannibal, though brilliant, was simply unable to capitalize on his success due to his reliance on insufficient supplies and reinforcements. Despite the aftermath, the Battle of Canny remains one of the most studied and revered military victories in history. Hannibal's tactics have been analyzed and applied by military leaders throughout history, from Napoleon Bonaparte to modern-day strategists. While Rome would eventually recover and win the war, the Battle of Canny remains a testament to the brilliance of Hannibal, a man who showed the world that strategy could overcome sheer numbers. Thank you for watching. If you found this deep dive into history fascinating, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts on Canny. Do you think Hannibal could have defeated Rome outright? Let us know.